Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I got an awesome video for you about one of my favorite techniques, which is lipless crankbaits. And if you're anywhere in the South right now, it is getting that time for you to have one tied on. Matter of fact, I've got one tied on right now. Do me a favor, mash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, because we have been growing really well the last couple weeks, and we got to get more information out to guys so they can learn more about baits so they can catch some janks. So let's get into my top 5 lipless crankbaits for the spring. Number 5, this is a new bait. This is from 6 Cents. It's the Quake 70 Thud. And you would think, man, it's so new, why is it in your top 5? Well, it just catches fish. And the reception all around the South and anywhere right now is this is a great bait. And I've even been catching a lot of fish on it. In fact, I've got one tied on right here. One thing about the Thud, not super loud. It's very subtle knocking sound, not quite as loud as the Booyah one knocker or the old Excalibur bait, which is the same bait, by the way, and I'll explain that in a little bit. Awesome paint jobs on these. Their crawfish patterns, their reds are off the chart. This color is brown eye craw, and it's sick, and they'll bite it, trust me. But the Thud, it's got a lot of weight toward the nose, so it tends to run a little bit nose down, and as it's running, you hear that thud sound that it's famous for. Awesome that 6 Cents puts these triple grip hooks on it. They even sized them up, unlike other manufacturers that come with smaller hooks. That's a really plus. When you buy this bait, you pay a little bit more, but you get better premium components. Number 4, no stranger to the lipless crankbait community, especially if your name is Matt Allen or Tim Little from that channel called Tactical Bass, and they got like 100,000 subs the other day. Awesome guys, and I've seen Matt spank me in person with this bait right here. This is the LV 500, and I love the LV. It is super loud, and it is nose weighted. It's going to sit like this right here on the bottom when you stop it. And I really like this bait when it's really cold, because I can fish it really slow and right along the bottom, almost like slow rolling the spinner bait. You can also dead stick it and hop it like a jig, and you hear all those rattles in there. When you make those quick erratic movements, it gets super loud. Make tons of good colors. This one's T.O. crawl. This is a deadly one on the Tennessee River. Any of your grass lakes in the spring, you gotta have reds. But LV 500, great bait, premium components on it. And if you watch Tactical Bassing, dare I say it, it catches janks. Number 3, this is the Booyah one knocker, formerly known as the Excalibur one knocker. So a quick story is, I used to work for this company, Pradco. I actually did videography, filmed the show Classic Patterns, a show called Lost Lake. That was part of Pradco's outdoor programming. And I was a main editor, filmer, and I got a lot of these Booyah one knockers and the Excalibur ones before anybody had it. And I'm here to tell you, this is the same exact bait. It is made out of the same exact mold. The only difference is the size of the knocker. In the half-ounce version, the old Excalibur ones were 5/8. Internally, the same deal. The whole shape, the plastic, it's the same stuff. This one's number 3. It is super popular, and it was really the first bait to have that loud knocking sound. This bait basically has a teardrop style design. You turn it this way, it looks like a teardrop, but that loud knocker separates it from many lipless crankbaits out there. This is the 3/4 ounce version. At one time, Excalibur made a giant 1 ounce version. On TackleFreaks.com, we have the half and the 3/4. The reds are super popular, especially in the spring, especially in grass lakes. I mean, these things at Lake Gunnersville are like candy to bass. This is actually my favorite color. It's called Royal Purple. Again, this isn't a color video. This is just about the baits. This bait's really heavy, and it does sink nose down, but it has a little bit of flutter to it, and that's because of that teardrop design. So number 3, the Booyah one knocker. Now, number 2 should not be a surprise. It is the Strike King Red Eye Shad. Now, the Red Eye Shad is also made in what they call the Tungsten 2-tap, which has a tungsten knocker, much like the 6 Cents and the Booyah. But the King Daddy, the most popular one, is just the normal Red Eye Shad. Got little BBs in it. It's loud, But what makes this bait really, really good, especially on lakes with vegetation, is the way this thing falls. It has a big flutter. When you like to stop and go, when you like to burn and stop a trap, and it stops and it flutters back in their face, those bass cannot resist this. This is absolutely one of the most popular lipless crankbaits on the market. Super easy to fish, and Strike King's got a ton of colors. This one is called green tomato, or some people redback chartreuse crawl. Just depends on how the website lists it, but this is a killer spring color. But you know, again, this is not a color video, this is a bait video. Kevin Van Dam made this super popular, and it is just kept on. It doesn't matter what lake in the country you live in the spring, you have got to throw a red-eye shad. That leads me into number one on the list. Number one on the list, my shirt says Bill Lewis Original Rattletrap. And it is number one for a reason. The most popular. You can find this in gas stations, at Walmart, on TackleFreaks.com, anywhere you go, because Bill Lewis still catches them. I throw a red-eye shad, I throw a 6 cents, but at the end of the day, I throw Bill Lewis more than any of them. And there's a reason behind that. Number one, the quality with almost all rattle traps is there. It's got that famous loud rattle trap sound. They're now coming with triple grip hooks on them. Back in the day, you had to change the hooks out on a rattle trap, unfortunately. Now, you don't have to. They're good to go. Go to your favorite spawning bank, throw this thing, and you'll catch some fish. So many colors to choose from, but the simplicity of the rattle trap's why it catches fish. It's just an oval design with a little fin, and because of that, it comes to the water super tight. And you can fish this through vegetation. You can burn it over gravel bars. You can burn it over stump flats. It catches fish, and it comes in a 1/4 ounce all the way up to a 1 ounce version. My favorite is always going to be the half. I feel I'm most effective with the 1/2 ounce trap, although I will throw a 3/4. But Bill Lewis, there's something about this bait. You can go behind guys that are fishing the same area as you. They're throwing a red-eye shad, they're throwing an LV 500. And because so many guys get on the train of the one knocker train or the red-eye shad train, those fish will bite this regular old rattle trap like they've never seen it before. So sometimes these old dogs, they'll still hunt, so make sure you give them a try. Let's talk really quickly about my Lipless Crankbait setup. I have a 7'4" Daiwa Tatula Elite big topwater spinnerbait rod. And the reason I chose this rod is, one, it's an awesome multi-purpose rod. It's got plenty of backbone, but it's very soft in the tip section that allows me to really throw these traps out there really far. I've got a Daiwa Tatula SV reel on here. The SV spool, super smooth, makes it really easy for me casting. 12-pound test line right now at the moment. Don't need that giant spool, because there are times when I throw this rattle trap and I use 40-pound braid in like a 12-14-pound monofilament leader. I get a little bit more distance, I get some sensitivity, and a lot of these fish, when you catch them on a rattle trap, I want to get them to the boat, and that braid allows me to horse on those fish just a little bit more, and that's where this backbone of this rod comes in. I can really get down and grind on them, get them to the boat really quickly, but the tip is soft and allows those treble hooks to sink in. Guys, again, if you like the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Coming up next is another top 5 list. I appreciate every one of you. Baitman is out.